So we're joined this morning by Emily Frazer, CEO, Matchroom Multisport, and the architect of the World Nine Ball Tour. Emily, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's always fun to get caught up on what's going on in World Nine Ball news and what's going on at Matchroom. And in February, you made the big announcement on the $1 million Whirlpool Championship, and you're like a news machine over there. Just recently, we had the announcement of the 2024 Mosconi Cup, which had a few surprises in the works there. And you actually announced that live on Sky Sports, which in itself is kind of a really cool, evolution, part of the evolution of the whole, process, isn't it? That must have been fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like what news isn't coming out sort of thing.
Yeah,
And
right,
it's
exactly.
what news isn't coming out of us. It's actually very interesting. We find that, obviously there's lots of different things that we need to get announced. And now we have to find points in the calendar where we can actually announce things because everything is so stacked up. Because we can't announce that then because we're doing this and we need to, oh no, we need to get the wild cards out for the Whirlpool Masters. No, we need to get the captains out. Now we're kind of running out of dates in the week where we can actually make our announcements. It's just non-stop, and that's only going to pick up more and more as time goes on. And as you've just mentioned, heading over to Sky Sports, HQ, to announce the Mosconi Cup captaincy is a huge step forward as to where we're moving with the World Nine Ball Tour. Obviously, our broadcast partner, Sky Sports, are invested into Nine Ball and being on their platform. And the Mosconi is, it's the creme de la creme. We went on there to talk so much about the World Nine Ball Tour, all the different events, but it ended up we were all just chatting about the Mosconi, and it was such a great chat and such a good promo for the event. And to be quite honest with you, it was quite a last minute decision to just announce the captains. We felt the plan around it was a lot more about the World Nine Ball Tour, about our partnership and the dates for the Mosconi Cup. And it wasn't until actually moments before I went on air and we said, let's just announce the captains. This feels like a good time, but that's all what live sport is about.
Yeah, it
That's how
is.
we operate. And we got some really good attraction out of it. And, it went down really well. So we were super excited about that. And, we're pleased to have such a great partner like Sky on board with us for the World Nine Ball Tour.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to, strike when the iron's hot. When the moment feels right, you break the news. So the first bit of news that you broke was that for the first time since the Mosconi Cup's been played in the U.S., it's not going to be in Las Vegas. It is going to be in Orlando, Florida. Um, and tell us a little bit about how that came about, and was there any trepidation? It's at the Caribe Royal Resort. Is that the name of it?
Well, how can we not go there? I mean, look at that picture. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, look, I went myself to the resort. They've held some boxing shows, obviously with Matchroom Boxing and DAZN over there, and it's a great setup, big convention space. It's all just had a big refurb. The rooms are like beautiful. Their standard rooms are so nice and spacious, and it just felt like the right move at the right time. Obviously, it's a shame to not be in Vegas, and it was, our first point was to try and keep the event in Vegas. That was the first thing. But with the Formula One, with different dates in the calendar, and obviously Thanksgiving, because I learnt my lesson that year in 2019, I think it was, with Mandalay Bay.
Right.
Going over Thanksgiving, unfortunately we are just very stuck with the calendar, and the one
Yeah.
thing we will never do is clash with the World Darts Championship because there's
Right.
such a crossover of audience there. So we don't want to be a small fish when we go to these areas, and room rates were super high because of the Formula One. Our spectators are traveling all from across the globe. They love the Mosconi Cup, and probably if we had kept it in Vegas with those high room rates, people would probably have spent them. But that's not what
Right.
it's about. It's about, our traveling circus and, getting this entertainment across to our fans and creating, a great setup for them. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure how it would go down in the industry, amongst the fans, but it seems to be a
What's
lot
the
more.
response been?
It seems like really positive. I think there's,
Yeah.
a few that are a little bit upset they don't have their Vegas time. But when you think about it, flights are more expensive. It's a longer trip to get to. You can probably accommodate more European travelers. And also, who doesn't want to go to Disneyland after the Mosconi Cup? Can, you can tie it all in together. So I feel like the players are probably going to enjoy it a bit more. They can probably be a bit more focused. They can look at having some family time after the event. And also, there's just a lot more to do for everyone coming for the event. And one brilliant thing that I love is the time difference. So we
Right.
normally go so early in the morning in Vegas because we're on air in the UK with Sky Sports in the
Right.
evening. So we're looking at like 11 a.m. starts. Moving it to the East Coast, you're looking at like a 1 to 2 p.m. start. I mean, if you're thinking, I'm ready to go and get tanked up at the Mosconi Cup, I'm a lot more excited about it going a glass of mimosa and VIP at 1 o'clock sort of thing rather
Yeah.
than at
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
a.m. in the morning. So
Yeah.
I think it's more of an all-round better experience for the fans. And look, let's just see how it happens. And
Right.
we're building the arena to just under 3,000 fans.
Okay.
So let's see how it goes. If it's successful, then let's explore it for future years, or we can move back to Vegas. The world's our oyster, really. And it's like I said, the Moscone is a kind of a traveling circus.
Right.
But the aim is to ensure that the spectators, it's enjoyable and it's also affordable for them as well.
Yeah. So, what can we expect? In terms of you said there'll be seating for up to 3,000. When will tickets? When will all that go on sale?
We're hoping what we in beginning of April at the moment. So we're hoping we should be within a month that tickets will be on
Okay.
sale then. With what we'll be doing is ahead of that, we'll be letting everyone the exact date, um, the ticket prices, the different sections that you can sign up to. Um, I do believe also there'll be a priority window for anyone obviously who's subscribed for our Matchroom pool system as well. So we'll be announcing all of that in due course, just so everyone can get it marked in their diaries and make sure that their fingers on the button to get the tickets, which is what the Moscow turned into, isn't it? It's brilliant that.
It is. It has turned into. I'm already excited. I'm excited to go down there. I think Florida will be an interesting change. I think it could turn out to be something really good, as you mentioned. The first thing I thought of was how much easier it is for European fans now to fly into Orlando than it would be to fly all the way to Las Vegas. So, I think that there's going to be a lot of advantages to it. Of course, the biggest announcement.
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
just to touch on it as well. We obviously do our US Open in Atlantic City,
Correct.
but Florida is an untapped market for us at Matchroom with Paul. So there's a little bit of let's try it in Florida. Let's see how it goes there. If we don't go back there for the Mosconi, then potentially we can go there with something else. So,
Right.
it's the thought
It's a big.
process.
It's one of the bigger. It's one of the bigger pool states in the country. With Texas, California, Florida's right up there. So I think from a fan base standpoint in the southeast, it could well get a lot of traction.
Yeah, definitely.
And so then the big announcement, even bigger than that, if there was a way to top that, was the announcement that this year's captains would be playing captains. And you selected Jason Shaw and Skylar Woodward, and there had been a little banter between the two of them online. Prior to that, give me a little bit of background on how the idea came about, when you started to really think, what, this may actually be something that we do here.
Sorry, I was just laughing at Skylar's picture there. He just looks so like that's perfect. Perfect
Well,
picture.
it was a captain photo.
Yeah, it's a captain photo, definitely. I think, look, it's a very left field decision. Doesn't mean that it's not the right decision, but I think I've expressed obviously my personal opinion regarding captains, like, probably the last 18 months, where it used to be such a different role before the rankings, because
Right.
coaches and captains had to have this entire year of boot camps, training camps, and all of that. And it was a very different role. Now, they don't need to be doing that because the ranking events do that itself. And then there's qualification, and it's more about the wild cards and the management on site, and also a little bit of entertainment factor and a little bit of flair to it. After last year, Ralph was a great captain, and a really nice bloke, to be totally honest with you, really sort of on board, had his own opinions, but totally understood what the Mosconi Cup is. But it did feel like behind the scenes that Jason was the one driving the team in more of a leadership role. I'm not sure if that was quite apparent to a lot of fans,
Yeah.
whether that was just maybe a lot more visual to us staff from seeing everything behind the scenes. And it's not to say that what Ralph was doing was wrong. It was just Jason was a natural leader, and he just naturally led that team. And, even when he was there, it was something that crossed my mind there and then. And then, Jeremy Jones, like, my heart sits with Jeremy Jones because he's probably the biggest person I respect in the game. And I'm gutted that he didn't get a win over the line. And I don't think that reflects on his captaincy skills or his coaching skills, because he's by far one of the best coaches out there and one of the most knowledgeable, um, people in pool. But there is something with Team USA that just needs to click. And there was the combination of Johan and Jeremy before that worked very well. But I think we just needed to go more left field. There were so many different hats being thrown into the ring for this captaincy role, but we would have been trialing something new and maybe gambling again, and gambling potentially with the wrong person. Whereas someone like Skylar Woodward, I feel he deserves an opportunity like this. He does lead the team. He does motivate them. Again, we see it all behind closed doors and we see it all backstage. He is a motivator. He is the one trying to push the team. So why not give these players the opportunity to prove themselves as a leader and to be out there on the table? And one point I stand firmly by: listen, we can all sit here on our chair and go, they should be doing this, they've done this wrong, they're not playing like this, and they missed that shot. At the end of the day, those 5 players on each team, the 10 of them, they're the ones making the shots out there. You can have one bloke standing there or one coach there saying, you've done this wrong or you've not done that. It's all about who is on that table. They are the ones with that pressure. And when they're on that backswing and they got to actually deliver and pot a ball, it's them. They're the ones under pressure.
Yeah,
so
right.
who better to motivate than Jason and Skylar? Now, I understand there's a bit, I think, obviously from previous years and, donkeys years ago, we're looking at when playing captains happened before. But
Yeah.
listen, it's a different game now. It's a lot harder. I know a lot of people will agree with me. It's a lot harder game. There's a lot more pressure on the table, but also Skylar and Jason are brilliant under pressure. Absolutely brilliant in that Mosconi Cup arena. And if anyone is going to deliver with that, it's going to be those two. Now, listen, they can have as much help as they need from us, from a vice captain when it comes to management of the team, things like that. But they've got the other 4 team members as well with them. So you forget, it's not because they're playing captains, it's not a one-man band with these now. They're 5 players all contributing to that. And that's 5 people all talking about the match sheet, the lineup, who wants to go out and play. I think it suits the event better, to be totally honest. But listen, we could be in a year's time and I could be saying, eat my hat, and we made
That didn't work.
but I think if we're going to take a gamble, I would take a gamble on those 2 players out of anyone, to be totally honest with you. And the more we thought about it, the more we kept sleeping on it, thinking about it more. Personally, the more I absolutely loved it. Kept thinking about it and just thought, I love it. I love giving those 2 the opportunity. And it also motivates players for years to come.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's how I
it's going to
feel
be
anyway.
interesting to see. Yeah, no, it's like you said, it's worth a gamble. It's worth let's see what happens. And they're certainly probably the two best qualified players to take on this role. It's going to be interesting to see after it's all said and done what they thought about all of the other elements that they didn't think about ahead of time, the babysitting elements and the who's in bed early and who's in bed late and who's going to stay in and who's going to get on the that type of thing, and how
But
does
they've all
that affect their game.
they, they have all kind of the thing is that both Jason and Skylar have actually played a vice captain
Right,
role.
right.
So they know all of that. That was the thing. Like, you bring in another named captain that wasn't, one of these players or another playing captain, then maybe I'd say that there's a lot of unknown areas. But these two, they're going to know these areas more than anyone else. So I actually think it's going to be a lot better for the team, a lot less stressful, and they're going to be able to control the team better as well.
Okay.
It's the best
What
chance for the USA, I think.
you think that this helps the USA chances?
I've, absolutely. I think someone like Skylar motivating that team and someone that talented like that, I think it's this is a good move for USA. And Jason, I think, is a natural at the role.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no doubt about that. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
he's Mr. Mosconi, isn't he? This is his kind of event. I mean, I know everyone's always joked about him getting in because he's British, and you know, the thing is that he's proven that he should always be on this team because of how he plays out there. And
yeah, yeah,
and this last year it was great to see him actually qualify. I hope they both qualify and they both want to qualify, because then
yeah.
they get
Because
two wild cards.
right, right. So they're automatically on the team as of right now. They basically take up a wild card spot until they earn enough points to be one of the top three picks. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays into the whole equation. Any other uh, you know, little tweaks that you've been looking at for this year's Mosconi Cup that you can tease
Uh,
us with?
there's been some updates to the format of the
Okay,
Mosconi Cup. To be totally honest with you, that's something that we will, present a lot closer to the time and publish out there.
sure.
It's something that we share with the captains beforehand, and they can get their heads around it. But look, there were a lot of comments from both like Carl and Scott, because obviously they were the pundit team
Right,
for the Mosconi. So they've sat down with the likes of Brendan and Jake, obviously from our side, and come up with a better, more fairer playing schedule for the Mosconi, to stop from being able to just put your filler out 4 times in a row or however it
right.
normally is. So
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about that last year among players and among guys like Carl and Scott and even Jason, things like that. That from a fan standpoint and from the standpoint of just the principle of the Mosconi Cup. It's a team event,
of
and
course,
there had become ways to get a Josh out there, you know, every other match for 3 days, which is everybody loves to watch Josh, but then the number 5 player on the team, you see him once or twice, and it would be nice to see some tweaks in the format. I think that it's always good to level the playing field, just not even from the standpoint of the two teams, but within a team, to give
yeah.
everyone the same opportunities. They've earned their spot on the team, and they should get as many opportunities. So any changes like that, I think, will be interesting. We'll certainly look forward to those.